Good evening, everybody. Welcome to G Reviews on episode number 3 with my buddy Alex. He's got a 2015 Chevy Silverado 6.2 Corvette motor. Oh yeah, Alex, welcome to G Reviews. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Yeah.
Excellent. G Reviews, car convos, whatever. Today's truck convos. It changes on the daily. So anyway, so tell us a little bit about your Chevy.
So it took me a long time to find it in this style and this engine and paint combo. They only looked like this from 14 to 15, where they had the square grille that looks kind of like the 80 C10s. It's like a modern version of that truck. And then finding it with the big cab, with the big motor, four-wheel drive. And I really wanted black too. That took a while to find it in black. Since I have it. I mean, I love it. It's a great truck. I'm racing people all the time, and it's hilarious how fast it is.
Right. I mean, that's the Corvette motor, right?
Yeah, it's 6.2, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, that thing is impressive. I mean, you definitely have. Well, I've driven in it. I haven't driven it. I've driven in it, and that thing really surprised me. I would have loved to have like a dash cam on your dashboard when you accelerate on the four-wheel drive launch. The thing is pretty nuts.
and violent. Yeah.
Yeah, and violent. Yeah, absolutely. Now, is it the LTZ model?
LTZ. Unfortunately, Chevy only puts that engine in LTZ and High Country.
That's right.
Or whatever the GMC equivalent is. So
yeah. I was wondering about that. Like, why don't they don't offer the 6.2? I mean, obviously it's to make you spend more money, but
Chevy does it, Dodge does it. Luckily Ford doesn't do it. But I mean, I would have actually probably liked to have the single cab, rubber floor mats, crank windows, base work truck with the big engine, because that would be the fastest one because it would weigh less.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Dodge
would be pretty
refuses to
insane.
put the 6.4 in the 1500. And, well, at least Ford puts the EcoBoost in the F-150. So you can get the short cab, small box EcoBoost.
Yeah, you can get the 3.5.
Probably the fastest truck you can buy right now.
Yeah.
That's not a Raptor. That's not a special edition, whatever.
Oh, well, fastest truck is now the Ram TRX.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I haven't seen one ever. So,
Yeah,
I don't even know if they're selling them now or.
I don't know if they're actually selling. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. Correct. I'm not sure. But yeah, okay. So tell us a little bit about, for example, when you bought the truck, why you bought the truck, what did you have before this, all that fun stuff.
So I bought the truck because I was placed into a job where they gave me an allowance every month, a vehicle allowance. I was a construction supervisor. So basically my truck was my office. So they gave me $600 a month, which
that's great. Sounds
like a lot, but when you get the truck payment into it, it covers about half of your expenses.
Right.
Because you're financing a truck, you have to get all the fancy insurance for it. They actually made me get extra super duper insurance because in case I run over someone on a job site or something like that. So,
right. Makes sense.
I got it. This is my first time actually buying a truck that wasn't 30 years old. So I decided to get something that was nice.
Right.
So, I got the truck it had cooled seats, heated seats, of course, had the heated steering wheel.
Ooh,
I'm perpetually
Florida.
cold. Even in South Florida, I'm always cold. So I use the heated steering wheel constantly.
Heated steering wheel, that is fancy.
Yeah, and I wanted a four-wheel drive because I really did have to use it multiple times. Before you'll be driving through a field and it looks like a regular grassy field, but half inch under the grass is just straight mud. So sometimes you did have to use it.
I was gonna ask you, like, how many times have you actually used four-wheel drive? Because I'm looking at four-wheel drive for a truck for me, and I'm not necessarily probably ever going to use it. The only time I might use it is if I'm trying to pull a boat out of a ramp and the ramp is slippery. you might need that, kick it into four-wheel drive just to get that extra little bit of traction. But okay, because it looks like it has pretty much street tires, right?
Yeah, it had regular street tires on it. But these newer trucks, they don't, the old trucks, when you put them into four-wheel drive, it was like a big shifter and it was clunky and you couldn't go like over 40 in it or whatever. But these trucks are actually designed to, the dial on the dash actually said all-wheel drive mode. It wasn't four-wheel drive, it was all-wheel drive. So it's fully designed to be, you could go down the highway in all-wheel drive.
All the time.
If you live somewhere where it's snowy, that makes sense. I mean,
right. Yeah, that is true. Okay, so you bought it because your job basically required it, and they covered a decent chunk of it, which is cool. All right, so and you said it's the LTZ package, so I assume it had they didn't have LED headlights, did it?
It had projectors. It had projector headlights.
Yep. Okay.
But it had like LEDs in the bed. It had the brake controller built in.
Pretty much decked out.
The hose system. Yeah, it was pretty decked out.
Pretty much decked out. Okay. And the Z71 package, what is that? Is that just
I think it's
looks, or
I think it's just shocks and extra skid plates, really.
Okay.
I think that's all it really does.
Did it have a limited slip?
Yes.
Okay. I think maybe that's part of the Z71. I'm not sure, but maybe that's part of it. But okay, so you bought it. How many miles did it have when you bought it?
I bought it with 56,000 on it. Bought it from it was a Chevy dealer in Orlando, about 2 hours away. They met me halfway. We signed papers in a Wendy's parking lot, and I drove home with it. So
wow. So now, okay, so did you negotiate prior to that, or did they actually drive the truck halfway and then you took it for a test drive and you weren't sure if you were going to buy it or not?
We agreed upon a price beforehand.
Okay. I was going to say, wow, that's an amazing dealer.
Yeah, we agreed upon a price beforehand, but also the truck like I said, in those options and that color and everything, as long as the engine wasn't like knocking or falling out of it, I was going to buy it. It was such a rare truck; it was hard to find. So,
yeah,
surprisingly, nobody checks the 6.2 box. Maybe they do on the brand new models, but it was like a $4,000 option in 2015. So, yeah. and they recommend you use premium in it too.
Yeah, it's a Corvette.
Recommend. You don't have to, but
yeah. I mean, cause so the 5.3 has like what, 350 horsepower or something like that, I believe. So the 6, I mean, it still tows. I think even the 5.3 still tows like 10,000, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you get the tow package, it'll actually go to like 11 or almost 12.
And then what does the 6.2 do?
mean, the same.
So for most people, it's kind of not pointless.
Yeah, I just bought it because I had the need for speed. And also a big part of it was I figured if I were lucky enough to wreck the truck and total it, I would buy it back from insurance, and then I all of a sudden have an aluminum 6.2 that I could put in a Miata or something. So
there you go. Well, we'll get to that. We have a picture. We have a picture later on that we'll discuss a GM small block in some other vehicle. But okay, so what mods did you do to it?
One of the big things, I mainly did reliability things to it. I mean, the only thing I really did appearance-wise is I took off, it had these tubular running boards down the side of the truck. They were just, I don't know, I know they come factory, but to me they were ugly. They took away from the look of the truck. And they also took away about 4 inches of ground clearance as well.
So you took these off?
Oh, yep, there they are. Yeah, it looks cleaner without them, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. I mean,
and also in that picture, the front chin guard underneath, the plastic piece, yeah, that got completely ripped off and I ran it over, and I don't know where it is anymore.
How did you run it over?
I was on a dirt road, but the road was rutted, so it's like the middle of the road was scraping the bottom of the truck.
Yep, I gotcha.
It just ripped it right off, and it was gone.
I'm sure you probably didn't even realize it.
Yeah, not at the time.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where it ripped it off, but it was such a pain to get back there. I didn't want to go back for something that I would probably throw in the trash anyways.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's supposed to reduce wind noise, reduce drag or something, but in all actuality, it probably doesn't really do
I think
much
for miles per gallon, most likely. The only other things I had to do was I put LEDs in the grill and in the fog lights, and then I put LEDs in the back window and in the tail lights.
in this
Because I
picture.
was on the side of the,
They're not in here in this picture, are they?
not in that picture.
Okay. I was saying I don't see them because I do remember you having them. I do remember
Possibly
you
the
having
other picture that you have of it in another parking lot.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. Okay. So you did reliability stuff. Um, so
Yeah, the reliability stuff. It was a programmer.
okay.
Basically, it shut off the cylinder deactivation, which, according to all the message boards, will eventually take out the camshaft. Dodge has the same issue. Ford not so much, I don't think. Ford just has turbo issues.
They have
Um,
cam phaser, whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
They have their own sets of issues. So, okay. So the cylinder deactivation, so you just said the tuner. Okay. So that's it really. Just the tuner and, you got
It
the,
also raised the idle RPM by 100. The truck, I mean, it it was fine idling on the side of the road for 14 hours a day, and trust me, it did that many times. AC blasting and 100-degree heat, just sitting on the side of the road idling. But raising it 100 RPMs helped the AC to keep up, and it also made the truck shake a little bit less. Everything just was happier.
that makes sense. Why do you think it shook? Why did it have a rough idle?
I
You
think
know?
the idle was down to like 500 RPM, and I'm 100% sure that was just for fuel economy reasons. Really.
Okay, so that's just a natural thing. I figured maybe it was carbon deposits. Do you know if this guy was direct injection or was it port? You know?
It was just direct injection, no
Yeah.
port, no anything.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So maybe, I mean, just a thought. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know if the new ones have direct and port or just still direct. I don't know.
I don't know. As far as I know, they're still just direct.
Hmm.
And
That's
this truck
interesting.
is the same mechanically through 2018. So it's
2018.
only when the truck's got the totally new look with the gills on the side where they change stuff.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Because yeah, I mean, a lot of the trucks kind of in that time range, like when they first started coming out with direct injection, they didn't know about the whole carbon buildup on the intake and the exhaust, all that type of thing. So I think Ford did it in 2018 where they added port back into the equation. So everyone's kind of talking about oil catch cans. That wasn't something that you even thought about at the time. I mean,
It was something I considered, but also the injectors were about 60 a piece. No, actually, they were
$60.
less. They were like $40 a piece. So they weren't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured the truck I had to do a injector service at 100K. I was
Right.
just kind of figuring by 200K I would have enough time to prepare to do it again, or hopefully I would have crashed the truck by then and the engine would be in something else.
Great. Okay. Actually, going back to the mileage. Okay, so you bought it with 56. How many miles did you put on it, and how long did you have the truck?
I sold it with 138,000 on it, I think. So I put
Wow.
just about 80,000 miles on it in the span of a year and a half.
That's a
I was
lot.
driving.
That's crazy.
I was driving. At one point, I was driving 2 hours each way to work, and then when I was at work, it would sit idle for 12 hours a day. So that's not even including the amount of hours I put on the truck. Which, if you go into the truck, you can personalize your gauges so it can show if it shows hours. I just got rid of hours as an option because every time I looked at that meter, it made me depressed because how many hours I was putting on the truck.
Right.
So I was just.
It's like a boat.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you put 80, I think it's 84,000 miles in a year and a half. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I've had my car, again, I work from home. So, mine's a 24, I have an Infiniti and it's a 2014. I have just over 41,000 miles on it. And it's a 2014, it's like 85,000 in a year and a half. That's crazy. So you're changing the oil once a month, right? Something like that.
It's between 3 weeks and a month, yeah.
That's just crazy. Wow. But so in that time frame, what went wrong? So tell me about your your overall reliability, what went wrong, what'd you have to replace?
There were some little nagging issues that were annoying about the truck. For example, the every time I hit the brakes, it would squeak. I go under the dash like, oh, it's probably just the joint where the pedal pivots. I'll just lube that up. No, it's not that. It's the master cylinder. No, it's the brake booster itself. They were defective, and they just make that noise. To fix it, you have to replace the entire brake booster, which would have been, I think, $600 in parts just to get rid of a squeak. So I just lived with the squeak because it worked. It just squeaked.
Okay, yeah, that's understandable.
And there was like they had AC issues as well. There was a high pressure line that goes off of the AC condenser. It would crack because it had no bracing to it. Eventually, the line, it would just flex, and then it would crack, and then all your refrigerant would leak out. I replaced that line.
Okay.
And then 2 months later, the condenser itself broke. So then I had to replace the condenser.
Oh, geez. Okay. Now, did that line that caused the condenser to basically break because it was leaking for so long or something?
The line isn't braced, and I think the line flexing, it destroyed the line, but it also wore down the condenser.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
It broke right about where it would flex anyways.
Okay.
It's poor design. They updated it. I mean, newer trucks, I think newer than 16 doesn't have this issue.
Okay. Specifically for Chevy. I gotcha. Okay. What else?
There's a belt-driven air pump. Because when the truck is running in 4-cylinder mode, it doesn't create enough vacuum to boost the brakes effectively. So there's a belt-driven air pump that provides vacuum for the brakes. And that pump also likes to go. And when it goes, it sounds like valve noise. It sounds like my engine is knocking. But it wasn't the engine. I drove around, or it sounded like an exhaust manifold leak. It sounded like there was something seriously wrong with my engine. I go in there, and it's a stupid pump. And
I've never heard that before. That's interesting. I mean, I hear about the problems with the cylinder deactivation system, but I don't know about the air pump.
It's weird to me that they had to put that in, because in 4-cylinder mode it doesn't pull enough vacuum, but how do you explain 4-cylinder cars having enough vacuum to make their brakes work? So...
Yeah. It seems kind of like a Band-Aid. It seems like a Band-Aid solution, not like something they actually designed. They're like, oh crap, we have to figure that out now. And they already the whole truck's done. They're like, oh wait, now we have to figure that out. I
feel like GM doesn't really test anything. They just kind of, they build it and then they just, okay, it's time to sell it. And then they just deal with whatever happens.
Yeah.
Whereas Toyota takes 20 years to come out with anything new, but when they do, it works. So it's like,
not new. It's never new.
Yeah, it's not new.
it's just the same thing they've been doing, and they just put like LED headlights instead of incandescent bulbs. All new.
Oh yeah.
Not one bolt's the same. Good job, Toyota. Although we'll see very shortly what their new Tundra is, and from what I hear, it's like a twin turbo V6.
I heard it's also a hybrid too.
Oh God, what are they doing? It's Toyota. I mean, it's Toyota. The Priuses, those have been around forever, and those are really reliable. So if they can do something.
At the end of the day, I mean, they hold resale better than almost any brand, which is frustrating if you're trying to get a used Toyota, but it's nice when you already own it.
Yeah, so absolutely, man. I've been trying to buy a damn, a truck for a long time, and I'd love to just get a Tundra and be done with it. Then again, they are super boring. I mean, I've driven a few on the channel, and every single one of them is the same. Like the SR5 has cloth seats. The what's the top trim Tundra? I think it's a limited.
Is it the limited?
Platinum or limited. The only difference is it has leather seats. You're jumping like 10, 20 grand from the SR5 to that. And it's literally just like leather and a sunroof. But it's just, but I know it's reliable. I mean, it's going to get 12 miles a gallon, so, okay. All right. So all that stuff, you vacuum pump, you said you replaced your torque converter.
That was done before I owned the truck. I looked at the Carfax, and the truck had the transmission out, torque converter replaced, which was also an issue with 2014 and 2015 trucks. They would have a shudder. You'd be driving down the road, and it would shake or vibrate in a weird way.
So why was the transmission? So they had transmission out because of the torque converter, or was there something wrong with the transmission too? Oh, okay.
No, that's just part of doing that job. But,
right.
And when they did it, they reinstalled everything, but they didn't tighten down a cooler line all the way. So after I owned it for like 40,000 miles, I was just driving down the road, and all of a sudden I lost my transmission. And I thought that it just blew up. So luckily, the truck was still under warranty, so I knew that if I had completely destroyed the transmission, that I would get a new one.
Right.
So, of course, I pull off on the side of the road, and I give my truck gas to try to cook this transmission, because if it's bad, it's going to be, I'm trying to just kill it, so I get a whole new transmission.
Right. Okay.
But anyways, I tow it back to a dealership, and they say, yeah, just a line came off, and they filled it back up, and they drove it around, and they said everything's fine. I wound up having to pay for it because it technically isn't under their certified pre-owned warranty, because the transmission itself didn't go bad. It was a transmission line that went bad. I was mad about that.
That's driveline. That's powertrain. What's?
I tried making that argument. They elevated me up like 3 levels of customer service at GM corporate, and they still would not pay for it.
Oh God. That's such petty stuff that I despise. It's terrible. And that's that is probably the biggest reason I don't own a truck right now, because every single manufacturer has some known issue, and yes, some are certified, some aren't, but like I've heard horror stories about, for example, Nissan, they have really good warranties. Like every truck has like a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty, but like their warranties are so, they're very specific. They're like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know.
So it's like everything except for an engine, transmission, or rear axle exploding is normal.
So you literally, you should just go, just rev it for an hour and just have the engine blow up, and then they'll replace it.
Ideally, I would have gotten under the truck and smacked open the case with a hammer so it would actually like explode, and then. But anyway, so after me trying to cook my transmission, they put fluid back in and send me on my way. And you know what? Knock on wood, it ran fine. It shifted fine. Even with me trying to kill it, it worked. So.
Okay. All right. So there's certainly a few things. I mean, there's definitely a few things that were wrong with it. It didn't explode, didn't catch fire. That's good. Okay. So the reliability, you said like 7 out of 10. There was some issues that never left you stranded, so that's good. Overall, I think it's not too bad. Not too bad in terms of reliability for 140,000 miles. That's pretty good. Did you ever change the transmission? Oh wait, did they change the transmission fluid?
I assume they did it when they did the torque converter.
Okay.
And then I dumped a lot of it out on the road when that line flew free.
Right. Okay.
And then about 50,000 miles after that, I did it myself.
Okay. Because I always wonder, like everyone has different opinions on how often you should change transmission fluid, but sounds like you did it plenty. That's cool. All right. Yeah. And this one had what, a 6-speed auto, right?
This was the 8-speed.
Oh, because I've heard bad things about the 8-speed.
Yeah, they're warranted. That was the worst part about the truck, was the transmission. Really.
Okay.
The programming in it was just terrible. It would clunk shifting up, clunk shifting down. If you were in like a parking lot going about 5 and you lightly get on the gas and get off it again, it would upshift. But it would upshift so violently that like your head would be taken back in the seat.
Well, I mean, you don't think that was because, you blew the doors off Mustangs in 4-wheel drive mode there, Alex? That had nothing to do with it?
No.
No, it was definitely just a crappy transmission.
I actually noticed that when I bought the truck with 56,000 miles on the drive home. I couldn't drive it normally. I had to change the way I drove to make the transmission happy.
Really? That must have been like not a fun thing. It's like you just bought it and it's already giving you issues.
It's not that it's going to be issues. It's that it shifts very weird. It's like
okay.
It's rough in all the wrong areas. If that makes any sense.
Is it like so the Ford transmissions, they say that the new 10-speed, which I think it shares with the new Chevy, right? I think it was co-developed, that new 10-speed. They said that it learns your driving habits, and like, was that something like that or no?
Yeah, this had that as well.
Okay,
It was but it learned to get worse. It never got better. So.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Okay. So that's the issues. What did you like about the truck?
The interior. One of the reasons I bought it is because for those years, like Fords don't get nice until you get up to Lariat Platinums, and they were just out of my price range entirely.
Yep.
Whereas Chevy, it's a well-designed interior. Whereas the years before that, I think it's like 2008 to 13, I think that's one of the worst interiors ever made. This is Silverado. It's the one with the big volume knob right in the middle of the radio.
Yeah.
They're not, I don't know, they're really plasticky and they're just not good.
Okay.
It's not something I'd want to live with. Whereas the Chevy had a lot of, it was plenty plasticky, but it had like a lot of stitching everywhere. It was softer touch materials. It wasn't, it wouldn't rattle going down the road or squeak or anything. It was well put together on the inside.
Okay. I mean, and again, well, LTZ is one of the higher trim models. So, I mean, you're probably comparing that to maybe a Lariat F-150, right? But like you said, the F-150 was going to cost $5,000 more for that comparable trim, right? Okay. So the interior was nice. What else did you like?
I mean, I liked it. It towed great. It was great. Anytime I hooked up a load to it, it was fine. It was especially nice having the backup camera, because I'm used to, you back it up, you get out of the truck, you come back swearing, and then you back it up a little bit more, and then you're even further away somehow, and then you keep running back and forth 10 times until you get the trailer on the hitch.
Okay. All right. It's a backup camera. That's pretty standard nowadays, but okay.
I think it's actually mandated. It's a safety feature now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what am I talking about? It's not common. Every car has it. Yep, that's true. Okay.
You see like $3,000 Mitsubishi Mirages with backup cameras,
That car. Oh my God. My local mall has one of those in the freaking middle of the mall on a stage. Why would you put that car?
I think other than like the Chevy, whatever the cheapest Chevy is, that is the cheapest car in America.
Aveo,
sure.
I think. Chevy Aveo is the cheapest, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, literally I walked up to it and like I could like kind of like, if you get it moving, like you could probably like tip the damn thing over. Like just like, it's crazy. But all right, so obviously you love the power as well, I'm sure, right?
That's one of the main reasons I bought it. Was, I mean, of course I bought it with the intention of crashing it and using the engine in something else, but also in the meantime, it was fun being able to blow the doors off of most cars.
Uh-oh. Did it say battery?
I think that's you.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Oh, geez. All right. Well, just keep talking. I can just edit all this out. Or no, just stop talking real quick. I'll just, I could edit all this out. That's crazy. I put a freaking brand new battery in this damn thing. It was 100%. Wow.
Gotta plug it in.
Huh?
Gotta plug it in.
I can't plug this camera in. It's like crazy, but I have like 5 batteries, so hopefully this one lasts a little bit longer. All right. Well, I don't know. Oh, wait. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see how long it lasts. All right. So you like the power?
Yeah. I mean, I sent you a picture of a time slip.
Oh,
from
yes.
the drag strip in there. It's
Let's go to that.
It was decently quick. For a 6,000-pound truck, I think I ran low 14s. I could probably get it into the 13s if I really tried, because that was a bad launch. Yeah, 14.3 at almost 96 miles an hour.
That's really good. That's like a stock. I feel like that's like a stock Mustang. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's like a 13. I really don't know, but 14, that's good.
I think I would say on a drag strip, that's about as fast as a modern V6 Mustang.
Well, the Eco.
If it could hook and everything was fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Of course, the Coyote will be faster, but I mean,
course.
off the line though, the truck would put most things to shame because they could just hook up because it was heavy. It was all-wheel drive.
If it's anything other than perfectly dry from a stoplight, your truck's got it. Because any SS Camaro, GT Mustang, forget the Challengers. I mean, they'll just spin and spin and spin. Well, I mean, you're already to the next stoplight by the time they stop spinning.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think you can see the lights in this picture a little better. The LEDs.
Oh yeah, I see them. Yeah, that was love bug season.
Yeah, that's something Ford gets to enjoy.
Yeah. Yep. So you see that.
That was one day. No, that was half a day. That was on the lunch break. That was half a day's worth of driving.
Oh man, that's pretty terrible. You got a little boat picture there, towing a little boat. So what is this of? What is this picture of?
That's a picture of during the injector service.
Injector service. Okay, got it.
The injectors are where are they? Oh, they're on the head. Those two fuel rails in the middle there. Yeah, where you got your cursor right there.
Yep.
Those are the high pressure fuel rails. They're under the intake. And you can reuse the rails, but those lines, like the lines with the yellow tags on them, you have to replace those. Those are not reusable. So,
interesting.
To the injectors, you also do those lines. Gotcha. It was, it sucks that you have to do this to those trucks. I know that there are preventative things you can do to these. Where I know, for example, the most common is they put seafoam in the intake, and that cleans the intake side of things out. Because there isn't any gas going in there, it's just air and the oil from the crankcase, from the PCV system. So it gets gunked up. That's just part of these engines. I don't know if the new ones might have port injectors too to fix that, but.
Well, I mean, so between seafoam and an oil catch can, I mean, that can help. But for example, if there's already carbon buildup on the intake and exhaust, trying to think of the word. What's the word?
The valves and the
valves. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Intake and exhaust valves. I mean, would the seafoam help? I mean, it should, right?
It would help on the intake side of things, I think. But I mean, if you buy a truck used like I did, odds are the previous owner didn't do any of that, so there's going to be buildup on that half of the engine.
Right. Yeah.
If I was going to buy one of these new, yeah, I would put a catch can on there, and I would be seafoaming it probably every other oil change just to keep it running.
Right. Okay. So I just got this picture pulled up, but okay. So you like the power. I mean, you like the interior. That's, I mean, very good. And then the dislikes. What were your dislikes?
That was the transmission and just how many little things that I had to fix on it. It was annoying.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Just a lot of little things adds up pretty quickly. Would you buy it again?
Yeah, I would buy it again, but I wouldn't pay as much money for it now, knowing what I know. I would gladly buy. I would probably, if I could find the same truck, I would buy it again. I would, but I would want to pay more than $25 for it, because I know I'm going to have to fix stuff on it, and I know that it's not that it's unreliable. It's that you got to do a lot to keep it running.
Right. Yeah. No, it makes sense. So, I mean, okay, so that makes sense about, whether you'd buy it or not again. So what's the story? What's the story with this picture?
That picture, I was walking through, we have like kind of a junkyard at my old job, and I saw this engine sitting on a trailer, and I thought for the longest time it was some crappy Ford motor because, the whole fleet was running on Fords. But then I get close to it, and it's a 6-liter LS with a 4L80 transmission out of a 2500. And of course, you've probably seen the memes of the 4L60s exploding. The 4L80s, on the other hand, are very tough transmissions. They can handle a lot of abuse. Anyways, I talked to the guy who ran the junkyard, and he's like, yeah, you can have it for like $100. And I swear, I've never driven to an ATM and come back so quick as I did then. I just told him, right there, I'll be right back. And I went, I got him $100, and I brought it back, and then I took it home that day.
Oh, man. Okay.
Lucky enough, it was on my birthday. So I got what is normally used like an $800 setup for $100.
That's awesome. Okay. I mean, I'm not mechanically inclined like you, but so what are your plans for it?
Oh, well, let me just a little background. The reason it was pulled and out of the truck is because while the engine ran fine, the transmission had issues. They said that all the transmissions blew up in it. I took it apart and there were a couple bolts loose on the flywheel for the transmission. That's all that was wrong with it. So there were a couple of bolts just banging around in the bell housing, and I think that's what was wrong with it. So I pulled the engine apart and it was fine. I haven't dug into the transmission, but I don't know. With that, I'm either going to put it into a Miata. Already mentioned I want to do an LS Miata.
Yeah.
An El Camino, just because I want to just have a white trash rocket ship. I think it'd be hilarious. Or a big old station wagon, like an LTD wagon or a Roadmaster with the wood sides on it.
Oh,
something
man.
Totally sleeper.
Yeah. So drag
put Chinese turbos on it and have it just have like 800 horsepower and nobody even thinks that'd be fast.
For $100, man. That's incredible.
$100.
You can't beat that. I mean, if you know what you're talking about and know what you're doing. So I mean, have you been able to start it? I mean,
no, I took it home and I tore it apart, and then before I can move on with that, I have another project. I'm going to get it. I had it turboed and then I melted a piston. I'm going to re-turbo it. It's I've become a one project man because I realized if I start 10 projects, I'll never get any of them done. I just do one project at a time.
Yep.
Start it, finish it, move on to the next one. So.
Hey, that's awesome. All right, so let me stop sharing that. That's cool. So, I mean, yeah, just let's start to kind of wrap it up. What would you? I got the 3 last questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite part about the truck? What's the thing you hate the most? And then, what's your next vehicle?
Favorite part about the truck is the engine. It's fast. It pulls really good. Pulls like a freight train. Least favorite part about the truck is the transmission that the engine's hooked up to. It's programmed terribly. It's just a bad transmission, and I really never blew up on me, but I don't trust it not to be blown up right now, for example.
Right.
I was just counting down the days. I was always ready with the tow truck ready to go, ready to call them up because all my transmission blew up. And the next vehicle I'm going to get, I'm actually in another position where I might need another work truck. And as much as I don't want to be part of the cult that is Ford down here in Florida, because I've always really been a bow tie guy, but I think the F-150 with the 5-liter is the way to go. Those engines really, they had issues early on, but now they have no issues as far as I know. I've personally driven F-150s with like 400,000 miles on them. And yeah, they kind of run bad, but they still run. They're still good.
Yeah.
Probably a basic tune-up would fix that, but I mean, and Ford makes good transmissions. I'm not going to go as nice on the truck this time because, in case I wind up losing my job due to the virus, like what happened before, I want to be able to pay it off and keep it this time.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Hey, so I mean, on that F-150, I mean, so is your price range is a little bit less than it was before, I guess, or still like 30-ish, something like that?
It is. I mean, I'd like to keep it in the 20s. I really like the newer frowny face style where it kind of looks like a Tundra, more so than the ones before where it was all smooth in the front. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
it's After 15 or 16, 15. I really like that style.
Yeah. So it went from 15 to 17, and then 18, they did that refresh where it's a little bit more rounded. The grill's a little bit different. With the 15s to 17s, it has like the bars in the front, and then the new ones have more of a mesh style. I've definitely been looking at those for sure myself. It's just, again, it's one of those things where Ford, their warranty, there's hardly any of them that are certified. From the manufacturer, the warranties run out quick, and then finding like a different or interesting one is kind of difficult. Like they have the sport package or whatever. I mean, I just dislike just a basic XLT. They just don't look good, you know.
Is it called the FX2, the one that's got a stripe down the side of it or something like that?
I think it's a sport package again, something like that. But yeah, hey, and I might even get a 5.0 4x4 because of what you're talking about there. I mean, you know, I hear that the new 10-speed is good, but it does have its own sets of issues. So they said the 15 to 17 has a 6-speed transmission. And that second generation 5-liter Coyote was a good one because the newer ones apparently are eating oil.
Yeah, I could see that. It's just, yeah, I mean, you got the combo of a proven engine and a proven transmission and an aluminum truck, which I think it's about time for aluminum, really, because it saves a humongous amount of weight, and it's other than some body shops not being able to work on it, but who cares? You just get a new fender and you bolt it on. It's not that hard to fix aluminum compared to steel if you know what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah.
And as someone who, like I do a lot of my own work on my own vehicles, as cool as a twin turbo V6 is, it's a lot of extra plumbing, it's a lot of extra oil lines, just things to go bad is how I see it. So
yeah, I wouldn't even
they get good gas mileage
those.
for what they are. They get great gas mileage, really. If you baby it around town, it's you can get in the 20s. It's crazy, but
yeah, that's pretty impressive, and you don't have to go EcoBoost.
Yeah, you don't have to, and they sound better. I mean, EcoBoosts, they're fast, but they sound like they don't sound good. That's just how it is.
Sound like a washing machine. Yeah, the piped-in audio and like into the speakers and stuff. It's like, oh, what are you doing?
That's why I was upset when they put it in the GT. It's like, that is a hypercar. It's supposed to have a crazy engine, not your economy engine. You know? But,
yeah. They were advertising their technology. And it's like, you got an F-150, you got a $500,000 car with an F-150 motor in it. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know?
You're telling me they couldn't put a supercharger on the Coyote and it would sound amazing and make probably more power. But, you know, I'm not in charge of Ford, so I can't make those calls.
They said because the back of the GT comes in real close, so they couldn't put a V8 in there. Apparently, they could only fit a V6 or some nonsense. I'm like, you could have just designed it a little bit wider and put a V. I don't know. It is what it is. But anywho,
it could have gotten Barrett from Australia and put a straight 6 in it. That would have fit. So
yeah, that's absolutely true, man. Absolutely. Well, Alex, I won't keep you too much longer. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we gave the people out there some valuable info on the 2015 Chevy Silverado. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, no problem. It was great being here. I love the channel, man.
Thank you so much. And what's going to be the next vehicle we talk about? Let's give everyone a little teaser of which car we're going to talk about next. We're talking about BMW or a Toyota or, I mean, something else?
So I had an 82 Toyota pickup. It was 4-wheel drive, had the 2 doors on it. It was a full-blown hillbilly deluxe off-roading machine. And then also I currently own a 91 BMW E30. It has an M50 swap, which is soon to be turboed again. I have videos of it when it was turboed. It was probably about 400 horsepower. It was fun. So between those two, and of course I have 2-wheel machines as well. But,
you're definitely a gearhead. Well, we'll definitely have to follow up on those cars, and I don't have any pictures of either of them right now, but we'll definitely have to do another episode on one of them and talk to them about then.
Okay.
Sounds good, man. Thanks so much for being here, and take it easy, everybody. Thanks for watching G Reviews and Car Convos.